Hello and welcome back. I am the Dark Reviewer. Today I will be reviewing Hellboy 2 The Golden Army. This was a 2008 Guillermo del Toro, like the first one, starring Ron Perlman as Hellboy. This movie was not based on any source material. This was actually its own movie. I think. Yes, it was his own movie. Not really based on many material. To be honest, it was a great film and I liked it. But I wish it would have done better. If it did do better, it would have been. It wouldn't have been as much as a. No, I wouldn't say a flop, like most people would say. I would say just just maybe something happened in there, but nevertheless, it is still a good movie. I watched it when I was a kid, back back in early 2000s, or now we're going into like 2010s, but as this movie was made, we still got the same actors. Well, some of the same actors from the first one. I don't know who's changed, but we got a lot of returning characters, and that makes me really happy, because we still get plenty of well-known actors from the first one. But enough about that. Let's move on to the movie. Now, or let's just call this the plot. The plot to this new one is pretty much Hellboy has to face off against this guy named Prince Nuada, who is technically trying to wipe out humans, so the monsters and mythical creatures can roam the earth again. Now he's having trouble doing this because of Hellboy keeps stopping him. So he's trying to find this thing called the Golden Army, which was made centuries ago by his father. And pretty much that's the whole premise of the story. Now let's go to what new characters we have. Prince Nuada and the princess. That's kind of it. Oh, then there's that I think it was the German smoke guy. I can't really remember the name of him, even though I know who he is. It's just it doesn't come to me. We start off the movie with John Hurt's character, known as Professor Broom, telling a young Hellboy a story about an army, the Golden Army, if you shall. And he tells them the story about how humans and mythical creatures were clashing it out against each other, and pretty much the mythical creatures kind of had this army built by like a bunch of goblins to fight off against the human race. But then they figured out that this isn't really pride, because this is not fair. So they split the crown into three pieces. The two pieces of the crown go to pretty much the guy who made them, and one of the pieces go to the humans. Now, I like this story. It gives us a good grasp on and yes, it's just a Tellus expedition dump, pretty much. But this is another great way to open up. And it doesn't seem like it's as bad as everyone keeps saying it is. You know, it's it's just hard to get one of those movies, off the ground, get going. But this where it shows that they ain't gonna really mess around for this one. They keep going. They wanna keep doing what they're doing. Now we go to the present day where we see he Abe Sapien talking to, I think it was Manning. I don't remember, that might have been the actor, but uh, he's talking to the guy that was from the original that was telling everyone that Hellboy's not real. I'm trying to keep the secret of the BPRD, and he he's talking to him, and then they overhear Hellboy and Liz fighting because new couples do the thing. I don't care, but it's not always like that. You see, when I don't know really how much about relationships and shit like that, but I can definitely tell. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna take that back. Yes, there is a lot of fighting to there. It's just so interesting because we're showing the relationship. Because at first they didn't really think about what would really happen if those two got together. Now they're kind of having to deal with the problems about it. Hellboy always wants to be a child, while Liz wants to grow up, kind of be an adult, while Hellboy wants to still keep his somewhat childlike personality. We cut to the prince. We have the prince unleashing a bunch of little, what in this movie they're called tooth fairies, to where they'll eat like people, like they'll eat them to survive. They eat people to survive, but they'll keep the teeth and they'll like gnaw on it. Hence why they're called tooth fairies. And Hellboy, Liz, and Abe, and a bunch of other BPRD agents go to stop these things. Now a few of them die, a few of the agents die, but obviously our main characters survive. Hellboy is blasted out of a window because he wanted to be known to the public, and the public sees him not as something. In the original, in the comic books or the graphic novels, almost everyone knows about the BPRD. Everyone knows about Hellboy. They don't really care. They just know that he's a good guy. He'll protect us. But when we get something like this, they don't know anything about Hellboy. And when he's blasted out of a window, everyone's first reaction is, cool, Hellboy's here. But then as it keeps going on and on and on, they're kind of seeing things. Like, yes, Hellboy's trying to help, but they keep thinking him a monster. And that kind of plays into why he kind of says at one point, like, why do I do this if they're just gonna hate him? And it's not always like that. People are nice. People won't always judge them by the outside. They'll judge them by what's in here. Enough of that rambling, though. We get to where Liz almost loses control again, which she's gotten a little more better at controlling her power. Now, they think that Hellboy needs a new director, so they call in a German scientist to where he thinks Hellboy to be uncontrollable. just those two like butt heads, and it's not really the best time for them. But then they go try to find what they know as the troll market. And the troll market is something that is kind of has some importance, because that's what those tooth fairies led them to. Because they keep one of the tooth fairies, the kind of scientist brings him back to life for a quick second. The tooth fairy tells them about who raises them, who like kind of bought them. They bought them from the troll market, and so they go to the troll market. They meet Prince Nuada's sister, the princess. Abraham kind of falls in love with this woman. He finds her to be intriguing because apparently she can do almost the exact same thing he can, which is read people. And, that's kind of just a loving relationship. But it can't really be because the princess and the prince are twins. And if one of them gets hurt, the other gets hurt the same way. They'll kind of play into later, but we'll get to there. Oh, yeah. Another thing. In this movie, Liz is pregnant with Hellboy's child. Don't want to even imagine how that worked. But anyway, it's just the whole main thing about when she's gonna tell him. Now, they take Princess outside of the troll market, and when they get out there, they find her brother, who's waiting out there for them, and unleashes one of I think it was a nature god, the last of its kind. Hellboy saves a baby from a car, then gets in a battle with the god, and then finally kills it. Now we find out it was the last of its kind, and pretty much Hellboy just wiped out an entire race. Yeah, I'm gonna put that on my resume. Wiped out an entire race of gods. Well, not the entire, because he only wiped out one of them, but that was the last one. And it was either let it live and thrive and be its last of its kind and maybe get more, or kill it, because it was hurting people. And Hellboy suddenly has to choose between saving his own kind or saving the people. And when he does the save the people, they don't like him for it. They hate him for it, because he did take the baby, but it was for his own protection. Now they thought he was trying to kidnap the baby, even though he gave it back, which is kind of weird. But they deem him as a monster. They don't want him to help us. And, well, there he is out. He goes back and he just is so irritated to why no one wanted him, or no one liked him. But anyway, the prince finds his sister and eventually takes her back, finds the Golden Army, and then takes. And okay, so first a little bit back. I forgot to mention this, but a little bit back in the beginning of the story, the prince killed his father to get one of the pieces, and he needed the other from his sister. Now, he couldn't kill her because if he would kill her, he would kill himself. Now, he eventually does take the thing back, and pretty much they get in a battle with the guy. The Hellboy has to choose whether to kill him. princess kills herself to save everyone else. And, well, Hellboy and Liz and Abe and the German scientist walk off into the sunset, Hellboy now knowing he's gonna get 2 kids. Wow. That was a little bit of a twist. But I'm joking, no. But yeah, was this movie a bad movie? No, I actually think it was a good movie. Do I recommend watching it? Yeah, I recommend watching it. It's a nice movie for like Guillermo del Toro Hellboy fans. Now, thank you everybody so much for watching, and if you like this, please hit that like button, and if you want to see more, please subscribe, and I'll see y'all next time. Peace.